everyone, my name is Sally and I'm documenting my garden mainly as a reminder to myself about what I get up to, but I also find watching videos of other people's gardens quite inspiring, as I often learn something new or get ideas for my own garden. So I thought I'd add to the collective of ideas on here in hope that it might help or inspire someone else. So on Paddy's weekend, and when I say we, I really mean my family. I didn't do much except give moral support. Dismantled the garden room and greenhouse that we inherited from the last people who lived here. We never used the garden room, and although I did use the greenhouse last year to grow some veg, they were both rotting away from damp. So we thought it was best to tear them down so we could start from scratch with some new ideas for how we'd like to use the garden. The garden is so much bigger now that the sheds are gone. I decided in November last year that I didn't want the garden to be all grass, and I wanted to put in a border for us to enjoy looking at from inside the house as well as out. The soil here is clay, from what I can tell from my very limited knowledge, and has really terrible drainage, particularly close to the house. If anyone has any tips or experiences to share about improving waterlogged soil, I'd love to hear it. Anyway, I decided to kill off the grass so that I wouldn't have to dig up sod, and laid down weed suppressant material late last year. I removed it a couple of weeks ago so I could see the state of the soil before preparing to dig it, and it was pretty terrible. We've had non-stop rain here for about 6 months at least, and it shows. The ground is completely saturated. However, on the bright side, spring is truly on the way. My fiance did these lasagna pots of bulbs last autumn. There's daffodils, tulips and alliums in them, and they look really cheerful and very uplifting to see when you come home. There's also lots of other things beginning to flower in our front garden. This garden is only a year old. I only planted it, started planting it this time last year. The saxifrage are really putting on a nice show, and the camassia bulbs, when I filmed this, were beginning to pop their heads up a couple of weeks ago, and the primrose was in full swing and it's still going now. I got these snowdrops from my parents and planted them in, so hopefully next year we'll have a good show from them. I also got this centaurea from my mom last year. It didn't die back completely over the winter as it's in a quite sheltered spot, so it's flowering already and it really looks magnificent. I got 2 wisteria trees last year, and the buds were just starting to come up when I filmed this. I laugh about these muscari as we inherited them, and I really didn't like them at the start, so I tried to get rid of them, unsuccessfully obviously. But now looking at them, I think they're actually fabulous, and I'd like to get more, so I think I'm gonna dig this up and split it when it goes over. I was in the garden centre a few weeks ago and I saw these acrylegias, so of course I got some and planted them. I dug out some perennial wallflowers to make space, as I think they're really gone past their best, but if someone knows that they'll come back, please let me know. I've potted them up for the moment. We had about 4 days without rain a week or 2 ago, which drained the soil enough to dig, so I started to dig the back garden border, which I was delighted about. But just like that, the rain returned and the digging was paused for another while yet. I bought my mom a gift of this climbing plant last year. It's called a chocolate vine, and it was so nice. I also bought one for myself, and I haven't had the chance to plant it yet, but the tiny pinky mauve flowers started appearing on it, and they are really delightfully delicate. Since gardening is quite new to me, I've been trying to take note of when plants are reappearing so I can understand what to expect from them. In just a couple of weeks, the wisteria buds have really come on, so I'm excited to see if it might flower this year. As the weeks passed, I noticed a few new varieties of tulip also appear in the pots by the front door. I couldn't remember what I bought, so it was a nice surprise to see them. We had a storm last week. Normally it's just the part closest to the house that gets waterlogged, but after the storm the whole plot was. However, spring continues on. The camassias are just beginning to flower this week, and I think they're absolutely gorge. I think I'll definitely plant more this autumn. The aqualegias I planted a couple of weeks ago are also doing really well and look great next to this orange wallflower. And the allium bulbs are on their way. So thanks so much for watching, and see you next month.